you got to believe you're a difference maker, and you got to have that confidence that you're better than everybody else.
Really? No, I love it that you're saying this. We've got to give ourselves permission to say, I'm the best at this. Why? Yeah. That is such a powerful mindset. That's such a powerful essence to hold that posture. And why are you in business if you're not going to be the best? Hey, everyone. Welcome. We have an amazing guest on today. You are going to get so much value from Michael Quigley. He launched his company 31 years ago in 1988?
1988, yeah.
1988. That's and let's just start, Michael. Let's just start with your client list. Are you ready? You're going to hear what he does, but let's just start with this extraordinary client list and the projects that you and your company have created. And that is LA Lakers headquarters. So many elementary schools, high schools, colleges, universities like UCLA. Yeah, come on, Jeff. My
arch rival.
UCLA, so good. All right.
Well, USC, they teach you, make money wherever you can. And if you got to go to the enemy, and do work at UCLA, do it,
That's so funny. Universal Studios, Lot G.
Right.
Is your project.
You did do all your homework. I know all these jobs.
Like Big Blue Bus. So
yeah, Santa Monica. Yeah.
Pelican Hill. I love Pelican Hill. I've done retreats there.
Okay.
So that's your client list. Who else? The most important one for a global traveler like me, LAX parking structure.
That's right. They did the glass columns that you see when you go there. Yeah.
Wow. And Getty Villa. Getty Villa. We love the Getty.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting project because my client Apollo Electric, started that job, and the job just morphed with change orders because I guess the conservators of the Getty Trust and all that, when you have unlimited money, it just runs. And so that job, I think, originally started like $2 million, and it finished I think 11 or 12 million. It was a big job. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about, first your company. You launched it in 1988. You are the founder.
Yeah, I started the company with I started in the industry when I was at USC. I interned with two insurance companies and spent time in each, department, workers' comp. One of the companies I was with, Chubb, they had a kidnap and ransom department, which they wrote, policies so that one of them was on Robert Fleur, the Fleur Corporation, so that if he was in Saudi Arabia, because they built all these refineries, if someone kidnapped him, the policy would pay off. So I spent all these times, but I ended up going into what they call surety bonding, which is basically, guaranteeing public works contracts, because by law, every contract has to be bonded.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't understand that. So the name of your company, Quigley Insurance Services.
Yeah. Well, I started with a partner, and we had worked together, for a previous insurance agency. We said be partners, and we were pretty young. I think I was 27 or 28, and he was 30. And everybody told us we didn't have enough gray hair. But I felt there's three things that are really important when you start a business: is you need to be poor, smart, and hungry.
Wait, say that again. Poor, smart,
and hungry. Yeah. And so, I don't know about the smart part, but I was poor and I was hungry. So we did that, and we were partners for over 10 years. And then we decided to go our own ways because he was happy with the success we've had. And I was like, no, we need to keep going. So it's kind of like we're halfway up Mount Everest, and I want to keep going because I want to climb it. And he was like, no. And so we just kind of grew apart. It wasn't a big deal and all that. So I've always, wanted to work for myself. And so I was excited about it, and I've never regretted it.
Yeah. Wow. It's really remarkable, Michael, that I want to hit on two things right here. Longevity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 31 years, you've been the founder and the guy with your company. And then also just what kind of mindset does it take for a 28-year-old? Yeah. You said poor, hungry, and smart.
Right.
All right. And you for sure knew you were poor and you were hungry. So that creates the smart right there. You got to get
Right.
smart. But talk a little bit about mindset practices. Like, was that even a buzzword in 1988? Were you aware of, man, I got to build my belief in this? And when you got knocked down, when they said, oh, you don't have enough gray hair, like, what did you tell yourself? Did you say, screw you? Yes, I don't need it. Like, what did you tell yourself back at 28 years old when you launched this vision, this idea for yourself to create this kind of success 31 years later?
Okay, so it started, the mindset that you're inquiring about. The mindset started when I was going to USC, and there was a professor. His name was Buzzkirk, and he started an entrepreneurial program.
Mm.
And so, being in the Marshall School of Business, which is what I majored in finance and economics, so you're around other like-minded students. I had a lot of friends that were, operating businesses out of our apartment and things like that. So everybody had this like an entrepreneurial way, and they all believed in themselves. It's like Warren Buffett once said, typically people that start their own business want to go to work for the people they respect the most, and that's typically yourself. And
Mhm.
so I just knew,
Wow.
being around all these people, that or because nobody wanted to go to work for General Motors. Nobody wanted that, to do that kind of thing. Everybody wanted to start their own business.
Mm.
The gentleman that started Salesforce.com, who originally worked at Oracle and all that, he was at SC when I was there. And there's a lot of, and oh, I forget her name, but she's, a big wig in the investment business. She started her own firm. So there was a lot of people that I
Mm.
went to school with that were, wanting to be successful and do their own business. There was a ton of commercial real estate
Mm.
stuff. I forget the guy's name that was running for mayor. He's now on the board of trustees at SC. He's the same age as a fraternity brother of one of my friends. So it's just like, to go to your point, in '88, it was just natural to want to have my own business, and to go to work. And then when things got tough, and it was tough, the first couple of years were very, very tough. But I just knew that I would be successful, and I knew to stay with it, and I did.
It's so true what you just said. Jim Rohn is known, the late great Jim Rohn is known as saying, we become like the 5 people we spend the most time with. So
Hmm.
you were very blessed, very lucky to be
Yeah,
around entrepreneurial thinking people, high achievers.
yeah, yeah. And the thing I'll
Self-belief.
add to it too is that it's best not to know what you're in for. You don't really want to, it's not, you don't want to know how
Mm.
hard it's going to be,
Mm.
because you might get psyched out. But once you're in, you just stay with it.
Let's talk a little bit about how you were raised. And I bring this up because I was the first graduate of my family, 4 children. I'm the first college graduate. And
Right.
then I went and got my master's degree. And everyone, my family just thought, why would you do that? And one day I was having lunch with another family, another couple, and they said, well, congratulations on getting your master's. So now you'll be going back and getting your doctorate, right? And my brain went, eh, 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 eh. So it really is important how you were raised. And if you weren't raised that way, Michael, like I wasn't
Right.
raised to value higher education. That's even more important on who you hang out with. So talk a little bit about your upbringing and how you were raised to be an entrepreneur. Did you see those patterns developed with your
Well,
mom?
actually, my mom and my dad, are retired high school teachers,
Mhm.
and my stepfather's also a retired, educator, and all that. And so, and we were a big blended family, so there were 7 siblings.
Mhm.
But I was the only one that actually really went to college and graduated. So with all this influence, the rest of them didn't. That's what they chose to do. Um, but there was nobody in my family that I would say is entrepreneurial. And so, they were like, thinking, well, you're going to go to college and become a teacher. I wanted no part of that. I wanted to have my own business because my dad's best friend was in the insurance business, lived in Newport Beach. And I actually, he got me a couple internships because he's in the insurance industry. And, he had a really good life living in the Back Bay, and he had all the trappings of success,
Mm,
as far as
mm,
I had a Lamborghini and a Porsche and all these things that I love because I'm a car guy. And so I was really excited about that. And so he invited me to come and work with him as far as when I was in college, and he helped me pick out my curriculum at SC. And so I would say he's the one from a business point of view that I learned the most. He was charismatic, very religious guy. And he just, he had great belief in me. The thing that he told me that motivated me the most is he said to me that, you're very gifted. And even his son said, yeah, you're the prodigal son. But when you have him behind you
right.
telling you that you're gifted, I mean, that is just like, it's the best. So that just kept me motivated. And he ended up selling his business. I never actually went to work for him after I graduated, because he sold his business and he moved to Northern California to,
Mm,
to focus on his, agricultural stuff.
mhm.
But that was probably the most influential person for
What's his
me.
name again, Michael?
His name is Dale White.
Dale White. Man,
Yeah.
we acknowledge you, Dale White. So I have two thoughts around that. So even though I didn't have that support of higher education and how important it is to
Right.
be educated, I had what you had. Terry Ash believed in me. I was 9 years old and I was a camp counselor. And he came
Okay.
over to me and he said, you're going to do great things. You are a phenomenal mentor. And I didn't even know what that meant, mentor. You are a great mentor. Coaching didn't exist back then. You didn't say you're a great mentor to these kids at this camp counselor. You're going to do great things. That skill set is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm 9, but I chose to believe Terry Ash.
That's
And then
cool.
I have a client who went into prison at age 18 for robbing I think it was a 7-Eleven. I don't know, for robbing a store.
Oh my.
One day, I don't know if it was a mentor or just someone that went to prisons and spoke life over these young men and
Right.
women. And he told that person at 19 years old, you don't belong here. This is not you. And my client decided to believe him. And now that person is an international public speaker, an author, best-selling author. One conversation, Michael, that gentleman
Yeah.
went into that prison and spoke life over that person, and that person chose to believe it. Terry Ash spoke life over me, and I chose to believe it. Your mentor spoke life over you, and you chose to believe it. Who are we doing that for now? So share a little bit about today, how how vital that is, how important that is. How do you speak life over your son, Jeff, over other, how do you speak life
Well,
over?
I have two sons. Yeah, my oldest is Chris,
Okay, Chris.
and he's married and has two, daughters, my granddaughters, and then Jeff, who's 33, just got married, and I always, when you hear people say that, oh, they're self-made or whatever, I think that's complete, untrue, because if we take a little time to examine
Mm,
our path,
mm,
we'll find out we've had a lot of help
mhm,
along the way. So I've always been big on giving back, and I played sports. I played football and basketball in school, high jumped and track, and I love sports, and everybody gets knocked down, which is kind of, how business is. You get knocked down, you just keep
mm,
coming back. But what I did was I coached my kids in sports and over multiple sports over multiple years. And my way of giving back was to, to, help mentor these kids, not just my own kids, but other kids too. And, be involved in their lives and, coach them and really you can use it as a platform to kind of connect with kids and young people, because I remember how influential the coaches that I played for over the years were with me. And you don't always know it at the time. And actually the ones that are the toughest on you were your best coaches, but at the time you really didn't like it. So I always coached hard, I parent hard, but when you do all the work, then it's easier. I'm probably one of the few parents that had kids in high school that I thought, oh, this is easy, because I already did the hard work, and I coached hard. And I had a situation, a positive experience where when I was coaching football, my youngest son in 8th grade, the head coach, I ran the defense, the head coach, and we had like 5 or 6 head coaches. So at the banquet, what we were supposed to do is talk about 5 or 6 kids and all that. And so I got a call from the head coach, Mark Tober, and he said, hey, he goes, Mike, Brian Pauling's mom called me and said that you need to, they would really appreciate it if you talk about Brian, because he said he's played multiple sports over multiple years. He says, you're his favorite coach. Because I nicknamed him, even though it's Brian Pauling BP, but I nicknamed him BP. And he goes, why are you calling me Coach BP? And I said, because you're big play and you will make a big play this season. So we were playing Bellflower and he took the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. And I said, that is what I'm talking about. And his mom said that was one of the best moments of his life at that point. So I knew that you can influence people, and I got a lot in that process. So I always try to give back, and the best way to give back is just help people.
Yeah, I love that. Wow. So I'm hearing like these success tips from you. So definitely mentorship. You were mentored and now you give back as a mentor. I hear, and the Sufi quote, I heard a shaman say, the teacher will appear when the student is ready. And you were ready. So you had mentors and teachers around you. I feel that way too. When I'm ready, the teacher appears. The next coach for me to bring my company to the next level appears.
Right.
I just have to have the courage, even with my knees are shaking, to say, okay, here's my credit card, let's go. So when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And then we as successful entrepreneurs can be that teacher, can be that mentor as we speak life into people. And we don't even have to coach them or mentor them long term. It's just like, how do you speak life over people that you see every day?
Well, and I see my son, my youngest son, who I never say my son Jeff works for me. He works with me, and he's got his own personality, his own style, and fortunately, he's got all his mom's great attributes, so that helps. But we work together, and we're next to each other day in and day out, and it's very enjoyable. But I still know that I have a lot to contribute to him, now in the profession of the insurance industry and all that, and he's found his own way, and I try to just be there when he needs me, but I just try to stand out of the way and let him run with his own abilities.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's not always easy. My business partner in Hope Publishing House, my publishing company, is my daughter, Ariana Jimenez. And so share with us a little bit about working with family and autonomy, giving Jeff that space, but also as the partner, iron sharpens iron. So how do you manage that balance of working with family?
I have so many clients that are second and third generation, that you kind of see what works and what doesn't. My thought is the second generation is rarely equal. They're either better or worse. And the ones that are most successful with the next generation, the ones that are most successful are the ones that make their kids basically dig ditches, like start at the very bottom and work their way up, give them nothing. It's like I was saying to my wife, Michelle, it's always better to do less for your kids than more. If you do too much for them, they're not motivated, So if I'm going to err on the side of anything, I'm going to err on the side of not doing enough, And so I make Jeff do everything, from the bottom up, because that's what I saw with my clients. No one gave me anything. I just started at the bottom. You learn, and away you go. But there's no substitute for hard work. That's for sure. And I'm as motivated today as I was, when I was in school.
That's phenomenal. Let's talk about that longevity of your motivation. You're the founder.
Yeah.
Quigley Insurance Services. You've been building that company for 31 years.
Right.
Talk about, did you ever want to quit? Talk about how you maintain that motivation. Talk about how you've created that state of, I'm as motivated today as I was 31 years ago, as I was before I launched this company.
Well, okay, so I'll say this, Lisa. There's been moments where I've been like, I've had it happen 2 or 3 times in the entire time I've been in business where I kind of burnt out.
Yeah.
And one of the times that I kind of burned out was, I still kept the insurance business going, but I started an investment firm on the side because I'm really good with investing and things like that. And I did that. And most of my clients, my insurance clients knew I was good at it. And so they became clients on the investment side. But what happened is, going back around the pandemic, there was this huge consolidation in the investment world. And it basically compressed all the fees such that even though my clients were happy with what I was doing and I was making them money, I couldn't make the money on the basis that I needed to make it relative to my investment and my time and everything. So I basically just gave everybody their money back, wound it down. But what it did was, because my son Jeff was working with me because he got his degree in finance from the University of San Diego. And so it's the same skill set. And I said, do you want to, I'm going to go back on the insurance side. And I never really left it. I was just doing these 2 businesses side by side. And then he was like, yeah, I'll do that, Dad. And he got licensed and all that. And so we've been hot after it ever since. It's kind of like the idea, I got really fired up again about the insurance business and, all my clients and what I'm doing. And I never got out of it. But it's kind of like, I was explaining to my wife, Michelle, I said, it's kind of like, you grow up and you enjoy Christmas, you love it, and then you're like 25 or whatever age, and Christmas is like, yeah, whatever, But when you have kids and you start to see Christmas again through their eyes, it becomes very exciting. So it's the same thing on the insurance side. I got reinvigorated again because Jeff's in it. And then I started teaching him the business, and I realized, man, I know a lot about this business. I didn't realize I knew so much about it, but it's exciting to see it through his eyes again. And then, the insurance companies I work with, they know Jeff and all that. And some of them are like, oh, I remember your dad when he got in this business. No one ever wanted to tell your dad no, because he was not going to. And if you did say no to your dad, you better have your facts straight, because he was going to debate you and win the debate. It's like, my first wife, my ex-wife, she said, you'd been a great trial attorney because you know how to argue everything right down to the detail. And so when you have that, it's kind of cool. Like, oh yeah, okay. So, I'm not tooting my own horn. It's what these other people are saying to my son. And that, builds credibility too. So I'm in the next phase now. And I have no plans to ever retire as long as I still have my mind and everything else. And Michelle thinks that's a good thing, by the way.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I tell Jeff that all the time. Why retire?
Yeah, and again, I'm not flying airplanes or digging ditches or a fireman or anything. So as long as I have my mind, I'm going to keep going with it. And then I get to be with my son every day, and so it's great.
I love that.
Great. It's fun.
So let's talk a little bit about, okay, so just back up. When I've been hiring staff, we're growing exponentially. So I've been hiring staff. And to your point, as I'm hiring the staff and training them and teaching them and talking to them about, I mean, I launched my company in 1993. So
Okay.
I also have a company of longevity. And there have been times that I've pivoted and was co-owner of a network marketing company with Richard Brook, 1% ownership. But still, I gave it all I had for
Sure.
6 years and pivoted from publishing and writing books and speaking and coaching.
It
So
kind of refreshes you.
it really does. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that because you're married to Mayo, Michelle
Yeah.
Mayo,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we had her on the show. So I'll put the link in your show description so people can
Right.
jump over there and watch her show as well. I loved her perspective because she's in real estate. The real estate market, this is how I share it with my coaching clients. When they're in real estate and I'm coaching them, I'm like, you got to realize you're dealing with a teenager right now. And
It's a
teenage
brutal business.
right
It's
now, it's being a
brutal.
teenager. The whole industry is being a
Yeah.
teenager. It doesn't know what it wants. It doesn't want to talk to you. It doesn't want to be figured out. Best thing to do is leave it alone and pivot to something else for a segment of time. So
Yeah.
could you share with our listeners, some of them right now, Michael, they're going through, maybe they're realtors, maybe they're in fill in the blank of whatever industry, and it has some growing pains right now. It's recreating itself and they have no control.
Uh, like I told Michelle, I said, look, I'm an insurance broker. So I'm representing clients to insurance companies. She's representing, her clients to a transaction. So I said, I understand the dynamics. The mindset, though, is you got to believe that you're better than everybody else. And
Say that again. Say that again.
you got to believe you're better than everybody else. And being a USC graduate, I do believe I'm better than everybody else. And that's, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's what I believe. And so I go into, like I'm gonna whip your butt. And that's the way I view it. I play sports like that. I coach like that. And so, I had a client, I was playing golf, and I'm not a very good golfer, by the way. But we're playing golf, and my client was talking to the insurance company because we all went out to play golf and and all that jazz. And so my client said to the insurance company, "I love working with Mike Quigley because he has one speed full, and so you just go, you just get after it." And that's what I told Michelle: just get after it or don't do it. But you got to believe you're a difference maker. And you got to have that confidence that you're gonna, you're better than everybody else.
Really? No, I love it that you're saying this. We've got to give ourselves permission to say, I'm the best at this. Why?
Yeah,
Because
I really am.
you really are. Like, you really believe that, Michael. That is such a powerful mindset. That's such a powerful essence to hold that posture. And why are you in business if you're not going to be the best? And here, let's qualify it. This is what I tell my coaching clients all the time. You got to be the best with your authenticity. You got to be the best with your uniqueness. You got to be the best author, coach, salesperson, with your authenticity, your uniqueness. If you don't believe you're the best, you'll be run over.
Well, I told Michelle, I said, I know a couple things about myself. I am a great dad, and that just came naturally to me. I'm great at my business because I'm very success oriented. And I told her, I said, and I'm working to be a great husband. And she goes, keep working. I go, I am, I'm working at it.
That's awesome. No, really, that's phenomenal. So even just saying, I'm the best realtor, I'm the best mindset coach, I'm the best publisher, I'm the best insurance agent, I'm the best parent, I'm the best husband. To start with that platform, to start with that image, to start with that vision, just imagine how, then we're working at it every day in every way. I'm getting better and better.
You have to believe it, because if you don't, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else really is. And so you always have to come across confident. and know that, you know, you're great at it. And whatever we all need to, we can do things to improve ourselves, but you got to believe that, you know, you are great, and keep working at it and
Yeah, I
deliver.
love
Your
that.
clients will
I love
believe
that.
in you.
Let's give our listeners permission. Let's give our viewers permission to say, I'm the best at that. And
Yeah.
then have the integrity and the authenticity to support that
Right.
vision, that statement with, I'm willing to do the work. I'm the best mindset coach on the planet, and I'm willing to do the work to own that now, and then now, and then now, and then now.
Yeah.
Love that.
And
Woo!
the other thing that I
Powerful.
think is really important too, is that, you know, when I'm out selling, you know, because, you know, I'm a salesperson, when I don't negative sell. I don't talk about, you know, if whatever they're broke, whoever there is, you know, I don't like talk negatively about them. I like to positive sale, if you will, on the basis of like, hey, here's what I can do for you. You know, we're service oriented. We will get you the most capacity for your bonding your projects, and we'll get you the most competitive rate and all that, because we're better than any other broker out there. We've got the insurance companies, because most of these guys and ladies I've worked with forever, so they know me. You know, I mean, some of these people, you know, like I go back, you know, 35 years with, like, one guy, one of the companies we work with, he told Jeff, he goes, oh yeah, he goes, oh, I remember your dad, you know, when I was a trainee, and man, they would hand me off and have to deal with your dad. But your dad was very professional and to the point, and he knew that he was smarter than me. And that you gotta believe in yourself, and you gotta really get after it. But you don't negative sell. You don't talk about the competition. You just talk about what you can do. And if the client compares what you're going to be able to do versus what they're getting, that'll win the deal. That'll win the deal.
This is all
And then
about
have
positive.
references.
Love this.
Have a lot of references. I had one client in particular, over in Paramount, Don Brandell Plumbing. I was, you know, interviewing with Greg to try to get his business. And he asked me what other plumbing contractors that I work with. And I was mentioning some of them. And I said, and one of them was CNR Plumbing over in Huntington Beach, Westminster area, Jimmy Yanez. And Greg looked at me and he goes, you handle CNR Plumbing? I go, yeah. He goes, then I want you to be my agent, because Jimmy Yanez is the toughest dude in the plumbing business. So if he's happy with you, you got my business. So sometimes you just never know how you're going to get it, you know, but you got it, you know. So I didn't tell Greg, oh, your agent is lousy or anything. I just said, here's what we do, and here are references, and here's what we do. And we got the business.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love this. Okay, so here's another success tip from Michael Quigley, and that is be the best. And you got to start somewhere, everybody. So create that vision of what the best is for you, and then work every day at being authentic with that vision, and then hold that posture. I'm the best because I've worked at it. I'm the best because I created that vision, and every day in every way, I work at being authentic to that vision of being the best.
Well, and the other thing I'll underline it, Lisa, with the whole thing is, you know, like I told my kids, you know, my two boys, you know, find something that you're passionate about, because having a passion for what you do will carry you, you know, and that's the whole thing. Is just because, you know what, I wake up every day, and it's kind of a bummer if it's a Saturday or a Sunday and not a Monday, because I love going to the office. I love working. I got, you know, I'm right here in Newport Beach. I got a corner office, literally, you know, and, you know, it's just great. And so I'm excited to come here every day, and I enjoy it, and I have a passion for it. And I think my wife, Michelle, sometimes thinks I'm a little wacky, like, oh, you're excited? Yeah. I like working because I like servicing my clients. I just like the whole idea of doing business and everything. It's exciting to me.
Yeah.
But if you got to have passion, you got to have
Gotta
passion.
have passion. Another success tip from Michael Quigley. You got to have passion. And then could we give our viewers permission to say, if I'm not passionate about what I'm doing anymore, how can I shift it? How can I stay right where I am? And how can I shift my mindset to be service oriented, to get to a new quality within me to grow into? Maybe that will rekindle the passion. What do you need to do, dear listeners, dear viewers, to expand that passion for what you do? And if you can't do it, get out. Get
Well,
out.
I'd say this too, Lisa, that, if you're not passionate about what you do, or more importantly, you don't like what you do, keep trying new things, keep trying, and take chances. Most people don't want to take chances. I remember, one of my wife's friends, I remember the husband is like, someday, this goes back, 30 plus years. And he graduated from college. He was driving a truck with FedEx, which is, that's great. But he always was about, I think he wanted to own like a gift shop or something like that. And I told him, I said, Kenny, you better get going on that, because you just got married, you don't have kids. And Sue, his wife, works. And I said, this is the time to go for it, And he said, oh, yeah, I will. And I said, eventually, once those kids come along, and they do, I said, you're going to be locked in. You're going to have all these, requirements financially and otherwise. And eventually you're not going to do it. And you know what? He never opened that store and drove a truck and I talked to him, years later, and he goes, I wish I would have listened to you. So what I'm saying is, you got to keep trying things if you really don't like what you do, for sure. And if you do, like my son Chris says, Dad, he goes, he's in the investment world, and he told me, Dad, I really like what I do, but unlike you, I don't love what I do. But he says, I'm happy because I like what I do, and it allows me to do the things I'd love to do. So I said, well, that's fine too. It doesn't, not everybody is going to be passionate, but you better like what you do.
You better like what you do. And I'm going to say, you better love what you do. You love what you do. You love the results you give. You're the best at it because you've created the vision of what the best means. And you work every day at making that authentic for you. I love that. And then here's the other thing. One thing I loved about Michelle's show, your wife, when we interviewed her, is she's had multiple careers. So she is actually living her experience of what your suggestion just was. Like, have the balls, have the guts to try different things. She's a person, she was a personal trainer for a while, stylist for a while, realtor. She owned a flower shop. I love
she has the most diverse resume I've ever seen of anybody. That is for sure. But the one thing I always tell her, though, and she's echoed this, is she will tell you, I'm by far the most supportive person in her life, because I encourage her, if you're not happy with this, try that. And don't worry about it, but go for it, because the worst thing that you can ever have in life is living with regret, wondering, what if? So like, I always wanted to have an investment firm. I tried it. The whole industry changed. Like my oldest son, who's in it, said, Dad, that the forces were beyond what you could do. And there's no room for boutique investment firms. It's all about the big boys. But you know what? I'm glad I did it. I know what it looks like, and I don't regret it. And you don't want to live your life with regret, wondering, God, I wonder, what if I had tried that, And so, that's what I'd say too, is try it. So Michelle will tell you, I'm the most supportive, encouraging person in her life, because I'm just like, go try it, go for it, And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work,
We all need a Michael in our life.
I don't know about that, but I try.
We gotta talk personal. We gotta talk personal. I have to know, how did you have the mindset to marry again after a painful divorce? Yeah. So I want to hear the story. How did you meet Michelle? How did you court her? how did you have the guts to say, I'm getting married again? I love this woman. It's worth it. And I'm sure you were afraid to get married again. Anybody is. I went through a divorce. I was incredibly fearful
Right.
about
Right.
second chances and second marriages. I'm the third wife for Jeff, so I don't know how he did it. Okay. Like he
Well,
overcame
he
fear.
finally got it right. That's what I'd say. I heard
Yeah.
something a while ago that the definition of getting married again is a triumph of hope over experience.
That's power. Hope over experience. It's hope is powerful. So
Yeah.
share the story as much or you want to share of
Sure.
how'd you overcome your fears of marriage and second marriage, and tell us a little bit about your courting, how you inspired Michelle to say yes to marrying you, because you're the best. You're the best husband.
Well, when I was going, I knew Michelle. We were friends at the gym. Yeah, 24-hour fitness over in Ocean Ranch, Laguna Niguel. And we were just strictly friends for years and years and years. We didn't even have a cup of coffee. I never saw her outside the gym. I couldn't even text her. I didn't have her number or anything. And so, and I knew her ex-husband. He wasn't a buddy of mine, but I knew him and all that. And I walked up to say hi to Michelle on a Saturday because she's always the prettiest girl in the gym. And I'd walk up to her and say hi to her and all that. So I walked up to her and I said, I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And she started crying. This was a Saturday morning, about like 9 o'clock. And where the treadmill was is right in the middle of the entire gym. And all of a sudden, Michelle's crying. And I'm like, of course, everybody's now looking at me like, how'd you make her cry? You idiot, And so then she explained to me she was going through divorce and all that. So when I was going through my divorce, I reached out to her because I wanted to talk to her, because I figured, everybody around you, your immediate friends and family, they're all telling you a bunch of stuff, and none of it's really helpful, by the way. And so I thought, I could talk to Michelle because I know she can relate. And I talked to her, and we met for lunch, and I explained what was going on. She gave me a lot of helpful advice. And then we kind of stayed in touch off and on. And she's always like, I was living in Dana Point. She's living on Balboa Island. And she's like, "Hey, you got to come up and see my world." And I'm like, "All right." So she goes, "Do you want to do lunch or dinner?" And I'm like, "Well, for sure, I want to do dinner." I said, "Just pick a place and I'll come and get you." So anyway, so we went out to dinner. We had a really nice time and all that. And so I walked her home, and I said to her, "Would it be okay if I gave you a kiss?" And she said, "Sure." So I gave her a kiss, nothing like, I bowled her over or anything like that. But I woke up the next day, and this was like the Saturday and Sunday after Thanksgiving of 2021. So I woke up and I thought, I would really like to go out with her again. So I called her and I said, "Hey, this wasn't really, she knows this story. This wasn't completely true, but I said, I'd really like to take you out to dinner anywhere, anytime today, because this week I'm totally slammed at work." And of course, I drop everything with that to Michelle. So anyway, so I was kind of thinking, like, what am I going to do? And she says yes. So I'm driving up a coast highway, and about Main Street Beach and Laguna Beach, I figured out, oh, I know what I'm going to do. Because she had told me the night before, like, "Oh, you're going to have to get out there on all these dating services and, all this stuff."
Coaching you to get on dating sites.
Yeah, she's telling me what the world's going to be like and all that. And, my sons had told me what the world's going to be like, and all this, all the online websites and all that. And so I was like, whoa, And so anyway, so Michelle and I go out to dinner, and we're like, each having a glass of wine. It was, as a Sappori's, right across the bridge over there. And so I said to her, real serious tone, I said, "I've been thinking about, all those websites and everything that you told me. And yeah, I know they're a thing and all that, And I said, oh, I figured out what I'm going to do." And you could just see like her body language just kind of die. She goes, what are you going to do? And I go, I think I just want to date you. And she's like, well, are you going to come over here and kiss me? And I said, sure. And so that was it. We were off to the races. And so I was never apprehensive or fearful to get married again, because it was Michelle and we'd known each other. She told me the most important thing is she always trusted me, and I always played by the rules. I was straight with her. I never hit on her, nothing like that. So she trusted me like right away. So when I said that stuff, she knew that that's really the way I felt, and that's the way it's gone ever since. And it just has evolved. And it was one of the easiest decisions of my life to decide that I wanted to marry her. I didn't. Usually your biggest decisions, if you're agonizing over them, you're probably just better off just letting that decision go. Because I guess your best decisions aren't your most difficult decisions. I mean, I never thought long and hard about having kids. I knew I did. I didn't think long and hard about marrying Michelle because I knew I did. So I don't know. And I like going into business. I never agonized over it. I knew I wanted to do it. And so those decisions are fairly easy to decide. Now, there's a lot of work that comes with it all, but I never agonized over, marrying Michelle or anything. And I'm glad, like I told her, I said, I'm glad, every morning I wake up next to you and I'm glad you're asleep. and so I can get ready to go to work. and I love falling asleep with her,
Really.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you just said is so profound. You said, I didn't have any fear about marrying the second time because it was Michelle.
That's right.
And I can share with you, I had a lot of fear about marrying a second time, but I chose to say yes because it was Jeff. So I want our listeners just to truly take that in. That is a mindset reset. That's a huge mind shift. If you have fear about dating again, if you have fear about marrying again, or being in a relationship again, don't worry about it. Because when it's that person,
let me add this
because of that person. Would you agree?
Well, let me add
that person.
Let me add to this too. As we get older, life happens. And my stepfather died, who was married to my mom over 50 years, and I was exceptionally close with him. He died, and then one of my older stepbrothers, who I shared a room with in high school, he ended up dying too. And there's a lot of people like, in my family for sure, like wondering like, oh gosh, is Mike rushing into it? Is this a good idea to get married? But you know what? We don't know how much time we get here. We don't. And at the same time, it's my life, and I don't live my life to please other people. I live my life to be happy. And I knew, because I was and am very happy to be married to Michelle. So I don't really care. Just like we're talking about going back to early this interview, about all the people that said, oh, you don't have enough gray hair, you're too young to start your business, blah, blah, blah. If I listened to them, I never would have got off to the start I did. So I don't listen to people, and I don't really care what people think, that if I rushed things or whatever, because you don't get many opportunities and to marry somebody like Michelle. And when you do get those opportunities, you better grab it, because next time you talk to her, she might be taken. And I was not going to chance that she would be taken. So you got to live your life. You got to live your life because it's your life. Nobody else's. And that's why with my kids, I don't get involved in their lives in the sense of, telling them what to do or not to do or anything. It's their life. Live it the way you want to. So I love my life. And I'm so thrilled to be married to Michelle. And, we have some, sometimes we have some difficulties, but I think when she realizes how wonderful I am, then it all stabilizes.
I'll ask her.
Yeah. Well, Lisa, knowing you will.
Michael, you are a wealth of wisdom. And the best thing about you is you live your talk. You do. You walk
Oh,
your
thank
talk. You really do. So thank you for who you are, your integrity, your authenticity, your huge success, your happiness. I love it. Thank you for these tips, these success strategies, this wisdom from you. And thank you for being on our show today.
Well, I'll leave you with, I appreciate all that. And I'll leave you with this. Happiness is success. It's not a bank account or anything else. It's being happy is success. And that's the important thing.
Wow, beautiful. And how can our listeners get a hold of you? How do they find out about you, your company?
But they just have to hit, they can hit a Quigley Insurance Services.com website. It's there. They can email me, Mike@QuigleyInsuranceServices.com, whatever they choose to do that, but it wouldn't be hard to find. It's out there a lot.
Awesome. Good. Well, I'll put that in the notes too, so people can get a hold of you. Thank you so much for being on our show. You're awesome.
Lisa, well, right back at you. You are too. And I love seeing you on the weekends when you're up on your balcony, writing away and doing your stuff and basically being passionate about what you do.
Yes. Thank you, Michael. Yeah. It's really cool to live on an island with you and Michelle. It's awesome.
Vice versa. And vice versa. So,
we'll talk soon. Thanks again, Mike. Appreciate it. Bye for now.
Take care. Okay. Bye-bye.
Are you ready for your mindset reset to improve your business and your life? Well, then just go to lisajcoaching.com.